Okay, so today's video is going to be on quivers. I made a video the other day with one of my bows, and that's right, I was making a video with this bow, and I had a quiver that ended here and here, and what I made a point was that these arrows, because they were being held way up here, were vibrating, and someone commented, you want to take the vibration out of your arrows, get a back quiver. There's nothing louder than a back quiver. Personally, I only use back quivers to practice with, and I want to say this right off the bat. Try not to be too prejudiced or against how other people shoot with their traditional archery, because you'll find if you stay in it long enough, you're going to change your mind about many things over the years. So things that I didn't like when I was a young man, I do now, and just try to be open-minded. So again, I only use this quiver for practice. You see me pull the arrows out of this. However, there are a lot of old-timers that believe that if you go into the woods with this, and if it's making that much noise, you're moving too fast. So there's some education of that. I've only had this quiver maybe 8-9 years. I've had this one probably close to 25. And this is just a leather quiver. I like that other one a little bit more. But I've had this since I was a kid, and again, it's pretty loud. If you're going into the woods with that many arrows in your quiver, it's going to be pretty loud. And the other thing about this is, what are you going to do with broadhead? You can't just, stick a broadhead in there. That's my opinion on back quivers. I personally only use them for practice. I don't hunt with them. I never have. I can't see myself ever hunting with them. Now, however, when I was a young man, or younger man, I didn't really want anything attached to my bow. So again, this is one of those things that have changed, my opinions changed over the years. This is called a cat quiver. I really like this. You put it over your shoulder and you're ready to go. The idea is, if it rains, your feathers will stay nice and dry in there, and then you pull the broadhead from here. Sometimes, since I don't care if my feathers get wet because I dialed everything in and I'm worried about cutting myself on a broadhead, I will actually use it the other way, but this is how it is intended to be used. So this is an old-time cat quiver. I don't know how old this is, probably 30-40 years old. This is a different type of detached quiver. This is a Rancho Safari, so you can put a couple things in here, like a soda, some water, and then this one straps on like this, and then you're ready to go. These are both great systems if you don't want anything attached to your bow. When I was a kid, I didn't want anything attached to my bow. There are also hip quivers that you can put around your waist, and you put the arrows in here. So the concept is, the arrows sit in here, and it sits on your hip, and that. I do this occasionally if I go to 3D hunts, just because I like to change things up when I go to a 3D hunt. If I use my back quiver, I can shoot really fast because I can pull the arrows out really quickly. So as I grew older, and I enjoy having a substantial bow. I like my bow actually weighing a good amount now, the older I get. So this is a Cellway quiver, and it attaches by sliding it on to your bow. So this actually is a nice setup for this particular bow. It's very solid, it's not going anywhere. Cellway's a great product. I don't use them very often because I don't find that the fit is always this nice. So this is a Martin Savannah with a whatever I just called that. I can't remember what kind of quiver that is. It's just escaping me. So this would be my that's my least favorite type of quiver, one that doesn't have any adjustments or anything like that. Um, this is my Black Swan, and this is a Great Northern Quiver. This has adjustments over here that you can either lengthen it or shorten it. I really do like this setup. This is meant to hold whatever arrows you want. I mean, whatever broadheads you want. Single bevel, 3 blades. I just think that this setup looks good, and I have adjustability so I can lower this to wherever I want, and these don't vibrate that much. So then my favorite, which you guys should all know by now, is going to be, of course, a Gunshot Quiver, because you have all this weight and all this adjustment. This is one that's meant to hold 3 blades, so it's a little wider. Again, Gunshot Quivers, I believe, are the best out there. The gentleman Tarl that makes them is a good guy, and so that would be my favorite quiver, the Gunshot. And then this would be a Gunshot that's set up for single bevel, that type. So this is awfully sleek, nice looking. I think this is the nicest looking quiver that they make. So anyway, these are all different quivers. They're used for different reasons. Just figured I would share some information because like I said, one guy commented, just put them in a back quiver and they won't make any vibrations. I don't think he meant what he meant, but again, that's going to be very loud. So if y'all have any questions about these quivers, give me a hit up, ask it. All right, be well, aim small.